The term financial immigration federalism combines my interest in financial markets with the traditional ideas of immigration federalism that the Supreme Court has clarified over many decades, if not centuries. So in contrast to some of the traditional arenas in which that case law has burgeoned, like employment, I focus on three financial markets: earned income tax credits, which are a form of financial liquidity for the poor working class. I also look at higher education, and then lastly, I look at mortgages that are offered to undocumented immigrants. One of the reasons that I think it's useful to consider this new term as a hybrid between financial markets and immigration federalism is to understand how states essentially can use their money and their political priorities to in some way buy out of the federal government's immigration priorities. Right now, both California and Oregon are proposing to include undocumented immigrants in the earned income tax credit. The federal government used to allow people, regardless of immigration status, to claim the earned income tax credit, but for the past few decades, after Congress passed a bill, that has not been the case. So currently, under the federal tax law, undocumented immigrants can't claim the earned income tax credit, even if they would otherwise qualify based off of their children and the income that they're bringing into the household. California and Oregon can't change the fact that you can't qualify for a federal earned income tax credit, but they have their own state earned income tax credits, and they're proposing including undocumented immigrants under that framework. California, for example, because we've passed the California DREAM Act, we offer undocumented immigrants the same sort of tuition and stipend benefits that we offer citizens who live in California. But California's program and its willingness to extend those benefits to undocumented immigrants is somewhat anomalous. States like Georgia and South Carolina don't offer that sort of generous benefit, and most significantly, they don't even allow undocumented immigrants to attend their public institutions at in-state tuition, and for certain institutions, they don't allow them to attend at all. States exercise control with residential mortgages in pretty interesting ways. So just prior to the financial crisis and recession of 2008, 2009, we saw a few states, including Wisconsin, create programs whereby the state would purchase mortgages from banks that were lending to undocumented immigrants to purchase homes. And that was distinct because the federal government, through the government-sponsored enterprises of Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, won't do that for individuals without lawful immigration status, even though they will do that for citizens. So states were noticing the fact that their undocumented immigrant residents weren't able to benefit from the same mortgage market that most Americans were able to benefit from. And so they put their own funds behind a program that would expand the opportunities for home ownership. One of the impacts of states exercising these clever financial workarounds is deepening the conflict with the federal government, which we've seen in the context of sanctuary policies and refusals for local law enforcement to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement. I think the argument that I would make goes one step beyond just the division between the states like California and the federal government, and actually focuses on the division between the states themselves. Can we still all be states that are part of this federal union when we treat something as fundamental as immigrants so differently, in part because certain states have the financial resources to do so and have chosen politically to do so?